Hello, Christian Marriage in the home class. How y'all doing? Praying for you and miss you guys. Hey, we only have a couple more lectures, and then I'm going to do a review on the final exam, so you'll be all ready for that. This is lecture number 16. What if parents disagree? So I want to talk about that. I want to mention this to you. We do not have another test. The next test will be your final exam. We have this lecture. Then we will have one more on social media and your family and your children. And then I'll have a review lecture. So you're all ready for your final exam, and that will be the end of the class. Now you say, Dr. Shelton, there's a lot more notes. I know, and we did not get to those. If you would like a copy of all the notes filled in, Brother Bundy will put that in your files. And you just go to your files and find the rest of the notes for Christian Marriage in the Home, and they will have all the answers in them so that you can get that. And I knew this was going to be a problem in only doing 20-minute, 25-minute classes. I knew that this was going to be a difficulty. And I know we've even kind of added a few of these because I wanted you to get these lectures, which I think are so important. So this is lecture 16, What if Parents Disagree on Goals or the Way Goals Are to Be Accomplished? This is going to be a very short lecture, probably about 12 minutes, but I think it's important that you guys get this and you get a hold of this. Let's look at this. Number one, because you're going to have this. By the way, think about it. If God put the right couple together, you're probably different in your personalities. You're probably different in your spiritual gifts. You come together to become one and you're complete. So chances are, because of your personalities being different, your backgrounds being different, the way you were raised being different, your spiritual gifts being different, you're probably going to have some disagreements. How do you work through those disagreements? Now, I kind of put it in the light of parenting, but these principles are going to be true all the way through whenever you disagree about finances or whatever. So let's look at these because I think these are important. Number one, see yourself as God does, which is basically what I just said. See yourself as God does. In marriage, God sees you as one. You are to appreciate and appropriate each other's differences in light of the Bible. Don't let the differences between both of you be a friction. Let the differences between both of you actually bring you together to be a completer. In other words, listen, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but listen to each other. Each of you have a different perspective because of the way you were brought up and raised, the church you came from, your personalities, your spiritual gifts. So see yourself the way God does. God does not see you as two separate individuals. God sees you as one. So you should be complimenting each other, not condemning one another. All right? Number two, defer to each other. That's what the Bible says. Be like-minded, looking on everyone else, not on your own things and your own ideas and your own agenda. Defer to each other. Yield to the other's opinion, submitting to their judgment. Yield in humility when, now listen, this is when you defer. This is really good. When the spouse may have more knowledge. Okay, so there may be something going on in the family right now that one of the two, husband, wife, mom, dad, has more knowledge about it. Maybe mom has more knowledge because she's been with the kids all day long. So dad comes home, needs to correct something, and mom knows all about it because she's been with the kids all day. Maybe, and this is very true, maybe the one child is more like the other parent. Okay, so I think Drew is more like me. I think Ben is more like his mom. Now, that doesn't mean I love Drew more than Ben, not at all. But the point is, because Ben is more like mom, sometimes mom has a perspective on Ben, has more knowledge because of the way Ben is than I would know. But then number two, the gender. Because Ben, Luke, and Drew are guys, there were times that I think I knew some things that Marilee didn't know because it's not a girl thing, it's a guy thing. So defer to the one that has knowledge. Isn't that a great point? Number two, the spouse may have a better view. We kind of talked about that already. Maybe they know something, they saw it in action or whatever. Number three, the spouse may have some success in a certain area working with one of the children. I would defer to that. The spouse may have a stronger desire. Isn't that an interesting one? The one spouse I don't really agree with this, but it's not that big a deal. The other spouse, this is a huge deal. Well, I would probably defer to the one with the stronger desire. So number one, see yourself as God does. Number two, defer to each other. Number three, when in doubt, accept the strictest position advocated by either parent. Now, and here's the idea behind that. You can always loosen up, but you can't always tighten up. All right, let me say that again. You can always loosen up with your kids, but it's hard to tighten up. If you guys are in a lock position, both people they both believe they got a good view of the situation. They see each other as one, but you're still disagreeing. I would then go, you know what? Let's just go with the strictest position. We can, if we find out after we allow the children not to, or after we put this guard up, or we don't let them do this or whatever, or we make them do this, we can always loosen up, but it's really hard to tighten up. It has been, so I would really, when in doubt, accept the strictest position. Number four, try to stay on the same page. I know that's kind of what this, but try to stay on the same page. Don't change goals midstream, all right? You had some goals of what you wanted with your kids. Don't change that. Stay on the same page. Go as your father, mother, don't, go ask your father and mother if it's all right. No. And kids know, no, that's a good statement to do. Have them, hey, go ask Dad. Did you talk to Dad? No. Because I knew he would say no. Well, you go ask your father. Stay on the same page. Don't be conflicting. Don't allow children to put a wedge between you. A unified front is extremely important. Try stay on the same page. Number five, communicate. Never disagree or even argue in front of the children. However, you may discuss, even disagree, and give your views by yourselves, and you should. Don't be having this discussion on what you're going to do with your children in front of the children. Talk it later. You know what? Mom and I have not talked about this yet. Dad and I have to discuss this first of all. Oh, what you're doing for your child and what you're doing for your spouse is amazing. Communicate. And then number six. Okay, so you go through the whole process. You both saw yourself as God, you still got the problem. You see yourself as God sees you, but you still got a problem. You tried to defer, but you both believe you got the best view, the best angle. When in doubt, you took the strictest position, and there's just still conflict with it. You tried to stay on the same page, you can't. You've communicated, and you're at a blockade. Nothing's happened. So number six, remember this. Remember where the buck stops. Now, I am sorry. But here's what I believe. The father in the home, more than anyone else, is responsible to God for the direction of the home. If parents cannot agree, he must determine the direction in any issue because he is ultimately responsible. And that's the way God set it up. Ultimately, bottom line, the buck stops with Dad. Okay, Dad, what are you going to do? Now listen to me, ladies. We go way back to how to work with a husband. Remember about and meeting and the way that you, when you submit with a right spirit, and you have and you do that, God begins to work. If you absolutely believe, I think this is bad for our kids. I've gone through 1 through 5. We've communicated it. We've discussed it, and it's still we are in disagreement. The buck stops with Dad. Let him make that decision. I believe God will work on his heart, that he will see very quickly that was the wrong decision. If he made the wrong decision, you might find out, you know what? My husband was right. My husband was right in that decision. Whatever it is, you got, at some point, the buck has to stop somewhere. And it's got to stop with dad, the husband. And they got to make that decision. So I hope that'll be a help to you. These are really practical. What if parents disagree on goals or the way goals are to be accomplished in a home, in a family, in every area? Know those 6 things. Those will definitely be on your final exam. Okay. We have one more lecture. I hope it's going to be on social media, and it's a little bit longer than this one, so I hope it'll be a help to you. All right. We'll see you.